Alex, welcome to KubeFM. To get started, can you just tell us a little bit about who you are, where you work, and what's your role?
Yeah, so I am Alex Lawrence. I'm the Director of Cloud Security Strategy here at Sysdig. So Sysdig's obviously where I work. If you're not familiar with us, we do runtime security for all things containers, Kubernetes, and cloud. Basically, if you've been, making a credit card transaction or you're buying something at your grocery store, you're interacting with something that's protected by Sysdig. Other thing that you might know us for is Falco. It's a project that we originated and donated to the CNCF, and so it is a graduated project that is focused on runtime security in the open source world.
Now, Alex, what are three Kubernetes emerging tools that you're keeping an eye on?
Yeah, great question. Probably the first one that comes to mind is KHGPT. We'd be remiss if we didn't talk about AI at some point, right? We'll kick off with it. And basically, it is a tool that can do scanning and diagnostics of your Kubernetes cluster, looking for potential issues. Basically has a model that's trained like an SRE to help you figure out what's going on. Otherwise, other one that comes to mind would be one near and dear to my heart around StratoShark. It's kind of the continuation of the lineage of Wireshark, the tool that we all know and love in the open source space. Basically, it's Wireshark re-envisioned to be able to read things like system calls, cloud logs, basically bringing that Wireshark workflow and notion to the cloud native era. The last one is tangentially related to Kubernetes. It's called CodeGate. It is a open source proxy that lives between the developer on their laptop and an LLM. It actually allows organizations to build policies that can make sure that sensitive information isn't being leaked from the developer in the code base, wherever it might be, out to the LLM itself.
Now, one of our podcast guests, John McBride, expressed that Kubernetes is the platform of the future for AI and ML, particularly for scaling GPU compute. Do you agree with this assessment? And what challenges do you see in running AI workloads on Kubernetes?
Yeah, so that I think is very, very clear, the future, right? It's no secret that Kubernetes is powering the AI platforms because it provides speed, it provides scalability, it provides flexibility. It's definitely the kind of infrastructure platform of choice going forward for a lot of these things. And that means it's susceptible to a lot of the same problems Kubernetes folks are experiencing today. Containers, live for a very short period of time. Things move extremely fast. Knowing exactly how it's exposed, where it's exposed, what data feeds it, like all of these things matter significantly in that Kubernetes space. And the AI platforms are no exception.
John also observed that the big thing I found over the years is that it's not so much about the features and security, it's about getting people to use it. How do you address the adoption challenge that John highlighted regarding Kubernetes security features?
Yeah, it is. It's a thing. So probably the most alarming portion of this is the speed at which Kubernetes operates. Sysdig puts out this great usage report every single year on all sorts of security statistics around the Kubernetes and cloud native environment. And something that's been trending every single year are the durations a container lives. We're talking probably 60% of all containers live for less than a minute, less than 60 seconds. And so when you start thinking about your security tooling on top of something that is that ephemeral, how do you do it effectively? How do you implement good strategy? How do you deal with kind of that whole problem that speed presents, right? And so it creates a real issue. So getting people to trust hand in hand for how you can do these things in real time, in runtime, at this speed and scale that Kubernetes operates at, it's hard. I won't sugarcoat it, right? And then you start thinking about the scale at which these things operate. It makes it even harder. We all complained back in the day when VMware came around, and suddenly we had hundreds and hundreds of virtual machines to deal with that made our server count go dramatically. Containers and Kubernetes makes VMware look like child's play, right? The sheer sprawl of this environment is gigantic, and I think that's probably the single biggest barrier for this adoption. And so just making it easy, making it native, making it out of the box, click of a button type stuff. That's how we're going to get there.
With that in mind, just as a bit of a bonus question, for companies that know that they need to have a certain baseline of a security culture, because when we're talking about technical problems versus people problems, what are common tips that you're giving companies that are out there that are struggling with this about, do we really need it? What's step one? What's step zero? How do you approach that?
Yeah, so it sounds cliche, but it's getting to the people. Supporting people, educating people, getting them involved in the process, and then having your security organization partner with your operations and your dev organizations, right? it kind of used to be this brick wall, right? And you threw things back and forth over said wall to get things done. That can't be how we go forward. It has to be a collaborative relationship. We have to build champions inside of our own organizations, and we have to work together much, much more closely so that we're all part of that security process. And it's no longer, well, that's their problem. This is my problem. It's everybody's problem.
One of our other podcast guests, Hans, compared delivering software now to 20 years ago. And he mentioned that while downtime was acceptable in the past, it simply isn't today. Hence, building platforms on top of Kubernetes requires more tooling than ever. Is it possible to keep tools sprawling at bay? And what kind of tools are essential for building mission-critical platforms?
That is another very good question. I have lots and lots of conversations with folks all around the globe on kind of, what does good tooling look like? What does good security look like? And the most common thing I hear is that I don't have a tool problem, I have a people problem. I need more people. I need more FTE hours in the day. I need more hands-on experience to be able to get these things done effectively. That's 100% true. Without a doubt, absolutely true. I'd also assert, though, that the tooling that they have was sufficient when the world looked like it did, 10, 15, 20 years ago. In the modern era, the one we live in today, those same tools don't necessarily check the box in the same way. The analogy I typically like to use here is that the legacy tools, the things that we're used to and comfortable with, they can tell you, the neighborhood that has a problem, the server that has a problem, something like that. More modern things that are built cloud native, that are built for Kubernetes, that are built for this ecosystem that we're in, they can not only tell you the neighborhood, they can get you down to the particular room inside the house that's having the problem, right? And so being able to diagnose where the security issue is, where the operational problem is, all of those things go significantly faster and help augment that people time issue that we have today. The other side of that is that you have to kind of change your entire model, right? Like we used to live in a world where security was a preventative measure, right? We tried to stop it before it was a problem. The scale at which we operate today and the way the environment looks today, that isn't sufficient. You got to do it. You can't not do it, right? If I'm going to go skiing or I'm going to go, mountain biking, I'm going to wear my helmet. That's table stakes. I have to do that. But I also need to take time to prepare myself in a more meaningful way, right? I basically have to change my assumption that, well, the helmet's going to protect me from anything that can happen, to I have to assume something's going to go wrong, so I'm prepared for whatever the situation might be. So in security, I look at that as kind of an assumption of a breach model, right? I have to assume I'm always breached, because if I assume I'm stopping it, I'm already too late. Cloud attacks go fast, right? We're talking sub 10 minutes. Dwell time is significantly lower than it ever used to be, right? We used to talk in hours and days. We talk in minutes now. And so if I'm not building a security program that has that in mind, I'm already coming at it from behind, right? I have to get in front of it. So to do that, I have to change the way I think. I have to be more prepared. I have to assume things are going wrong so I can protect them when they do go wrong.
With that in mind, we celebrated 10 years of Kubernetes last year. Looking forward, looking at the next 10 years of Kubernetes, from a security perspective, some things that folks talk about, making Kubernetes more boring, also looking at AI workloads making their way onto Kubernetes. What do you expect to happen in the next 10 years?
Yeah, the thing we talked about today, like I mentioned, the sprawl that we're at today, how much bigger these environments get, how much more complex they get. We're at the start, right? We're not even at the tip of the iceberg, so to speak, of getting over that hump, right? We're on our way up. And so over the next 10 years, these things are going to get more complex. They're going to get more diverse. We're going to have even larger diversification, I suspect. And it's not necessarily all going to be in a particular public cloud. It's going to be everywhere, right? We're not going to be living in one cloud or two cloud. We're going to be in a very multi-cloud world. That could be my on-premises cloud. That could be my stuff that's running in somebody else's environments. We're just going to see significant diversification, and that's going to add even more complexity to the environments we deal with today.
What's next for you?
Probably just trying to do more evangelism and get folks aware of what's happening in this open source space, right? I think the wonderful thing about Kubernetes and cloud native is it's built on the back of open source technology. And that really allows the community to shine through on how we can do a lot of things differently. I even think about, security breaches we've had in the last couple of years. you're seeing the community respond in community security tools significantly faster than proprietary tools, right? Where the collective brain is smarter and faster than the singular ones. And so for me, my passion is going to be really around trying to help people adopt that more kind of communal type of thinking. I'm a huge proponent of not hiding information from each other anymore. We can't look at security programs as a competitive differentiator. We need to look at them as a collaborative process where we work together on these things, because I guarantee you our adversaries are working together. And so if we think that one person can be smarter than 100, 1,000, 500, that's just not the case. We have to collaborate, and that's what I'm hoping to help see us do more of over the next few years.
And if people want to collaborate or get in touch with you, what's the best way to do so?
Yeah, hit me up on LinkedIn. Find me at a conference. I'll actually be at KubeCon EMEA over in London next week. And so if you're out there, come see me. Otherwise, just look me up on LinkedIn. You can even look up Alex Lawrence, like cybersecurity fungus. You'll find some weird stuff out there about me. So yeah, just engage where you can find me.
All right, perfect, Alex. Thanks so much for your time today. Look forward to seeing you in
Hey,
London. Take
thank
care.
you.